Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video this afternoon there is lots to currently negotiate about. I am going to be giving you the latest news of what Fred has come out and said regarding the Manchester United squad, and also going to be giving you some more additional information regarding Ole Gunnar Solsjkaer. But I'm going to delve into that topic a bit later on in the video. I am going to start with what Fred has come out and said. So it's in a number of media outlets, but I've got it up here in what outlet is this? This is in the Football 365 outlet. These are some of the things Fred has said regarding the Manchester United squad and that. So basically, Fred admits that the Red Devils currently have a lot of problems. He says we are lacking a lot right now, especially we're lacking creativity in that midfield. First of all we need to do is figure out things on the pitch. We are lacking creativity, like I've just said, especially in the midfield. We also need to improve as a group. Our group is lacks the sticking together mentality. We have a lot of problems. There are a lot of discussions. Every group has this sort of problem, but ours has this. Vanity is also an issue, and we need to stop this and just run onto the pitch. We need to stick a goal inside our minds, focus on it and go forward. We need to be on the same page today. Some players have different objectives. They are players that just want to solve problems alone, and this is wrong. So these are the comments that Fred has come out and said. But this is a surprise really, because you wouldn't have expected Fred to come out with these type of comments. Maybe you'd have expected like maybe Paul Pogba or another player, but not Fred. But to be fair to Fred, he's aware of the problems at Manchester United and that, and I think a lot of people are aware of the problems at Manchester United because we have been inconsistent in the last 6 or 7 years. But with Fred, to be fair, I think we should be determined to give him more time at the football club. I think Fred's recently rejuvenated himself. I don't think he settled in straight away. Fred, he hasn't emulated that level as yet, but the club need to be determined to give him time. I do agree on the aspects that Manchester United overpaid for Fred, because we paid around, £50 million in from Shakhtar Donetsk. But, let's be honest, he never really got the opportunity under Jose Mourinho. I think it's dependent on, who Fred plays alongside, who he plays alongside with in our midfield. I think I've mainly seen the best of Fred when he's been playing alongside McTominay, but of course McTominay is injured at the moment, but I think he's now close to returning from injury, because I think he has been back in training. McTominay, he has been out with an injury. Solsjkaer did confirm, by the way, that, McTominay was part of the warm weather training camp in Spain. So he actually, could be back for the Chelsea game, could Scott McTominay and that, which is very, very good. But when they was playing alongside together, I thought they complemented each other fantastically well, did Fred and McTominay. And McTominay is one of the players I definitely would be determined to keep at the football club, because I thought before he got injured, he did really, really well, did Scott McTominay and that. But, there is quite a few, that have gone on the warm weather training camp. McTominay has. Bruno Fernandes also travelled. Odi Nagalo, by the way, hasn't, like I updated you yesterday, he's been banned from our winter break. The main explanation for this is because of the fears of the coronavirus. So, Odi Nagalo has remained in the UK, but I still believe he will be making his debut against Chelsea. Obviously, Rashford isn't part of the warm weather training camp in Spain, because obviously he's going to be out for at least the next couple of months, because he did sustain a double fracture in his back. So I do believe Odi Nagalo is a good cover-up, for Marcus Rashford, and he's also a good alternative to Anthony Martial and that. So yeah. So that's the latest news regarding Fred and that. So now I'm going to delve into the topic regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I have been reading recent reports, and it did say Manchester United will sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or could sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, at the end of the season, if Manchester United, finish out of the top 6. And of course, if we don't get, qualification for the Champions League and that. We are now currently sitting 8th in the Premier League, reflecting on Everton's 3-1 win against Crystal Palace yesterday. We're sitting 8th in the Premier League. We are 6 points behind top 4. There's quite a few teams in that top 4 race, but the only main explanation why we're in that top 4 is because, Chelsea have been so inconsistent this season. But, on the other hand, we've had so many opportunities to close that gap in that top 4, and realistically, we should be in that top 4 now. But that top 4 is one of our ambitions in that. It's also very imperative that we've got to try and get some silverware on the board this season. Obviously, we can win the Europa League. That's another route to Champions League football. We can win the FA Cup. That's a chance of getting some silverware on the board. But like I mentioned on one of my videos a while back, I said I think the only way Solskjaer will be given another full season at Manchester United is if, we get some silverware on the board, and of course we do get, qualification for the Champions League. So he's got quite a few expectations to exceed. But like I mentioned on my recent videos, I just think the expectations are too high for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United and I don't think he's the right, I don't think he's the right manager, and I don't think he's the long-term solution for the football club. Obviously, Solskjaer has been under intense pressure anywhere for the vast majority of this season. Obviously, we have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. Obviously, since Solskjaer got the job permanently, we have lost more games in the Premier League than we've won. We have lost more games in the Premier League than we've won, and his record is absolutely disastrous. His Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, but we have been inconsistent for the vast majority of this season. This is the main explanation, why he has been under so much pressure and that. But up until this point, like I mentioned, this is, the worst we've ever been in the Premier League era. And as far as I know, in my lifetime, Solskjaer is the worst manager that Manchester United have had. Because I haven't seen any improvements at all under Solskjaer than what I saw under Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, and of course David Moyes. Of course, except the 3 months when he was the interim manager, because when Solskjaer was the interim manager, he did really, really well. In that 3-month period, the results were good, the performances were good. He got the best out of these group of players. But, since he's got the job permanently, everything has just seemed to have all gone wrong. And I think, one of the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent for the last 6 or 7 years is because Man United have made a lot of mistakes. And like I've just mentioned, one of those mistakes was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis. But I do believe, we give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job too soon. I think he's been here long enough now. He's been here, 14 months nearly. He's been permanent manager for almost 11 months. Solskjaer's got 2.5 years left on his current contract, but I'm very sceptical that he'll see, his 2.5 year deal out with the club. And obviously, we decide to sack him, Manchester United will have to pay something in compensation to get rid of him. We'll have to pay around £5 million and that. But the game against Chelsea after the winter break is a must-win game for Manchester United. Because I think that game will decide who finishes in the top 4, could decide who finishes in the top 4. Like I mentioned, we're 6 points behind top 4 at the moment. We are winless in our last 3 Premier League games. And, we're looking to beat Chelsea for the 3rd time this season. To be fair, we've had a good record against Chelsea since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in. I think Solskjaer is unbeaten against Chelsea as Manchester United manager. I think we're unbeaten in our last 5 games against them in all competitions. And we have won our last 2 visits to Stamford Bridge. But Solskjaer has overcome Frank Lampard twice in that. But it'd be interesting to see how he approaches the game against Chelsea. Obviously, after the game against Chelsea, it is Club Brugge in the knockout stages of the Europa League and that. But like I said, Solskjaer is not the right manager for Manchester United. And the main explanations for this is being tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. He doesn't have a plan A, doesn't have a plan B. Some of his substitutions are questionable and that. And he isn't the right manager for Manchester United. But, it's not only the problem at Manchester United. There's a hell of a lot of problems at the club. And there's a lot of cultural problems, and we need someone to come in to change the culture of the club. Like I said, problems with the management. There's been problems the way the football club's been run, at least in the last 6 or 7 years. A lot of the fans have got doubts about, the executive and the club's ownership. Obviously, we need to get rid of our board, because our board have been a liability for several years. So we need to see a variety of changes at the club. Also, I've got an element of concerns about Carrick as one of our coaching staff, because he's too inexperienced but was a good player. Kieran McKenna, too inexperienced. But on the other hand, there's also problems on the pitch, because there's still a lot of aspects of our game that need to improve. There's still a lot of deadwood at Manchester United that do need to be moved on in the summer. But I know a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival and that. But we have got good players in our team, We have got a lot of our players are better than a lot of teams' players in the Premier League, to be fair. But, they're just not playing as a unit and they're not playing as a team. And like I mentioned, Solskjaer does not have a style of play. So that's the element of concern. But obviously, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is to be sacked as Manchester United manager, it's very, very imminent that Mauricio Pochettino will be our next manager. Of course, if Pochettino comes in, he will be our fifth permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. Now, Pochettino does remain interested in taking over at Manchester United. Obviously, we won't get him in though until the end of the season, because obviously, if we did recommend Pochettino in before the end of the season, then Tottenham then would be entitled to £10 million in compensation, or if he of course was to get any other job. Like I updated you yesterday, obviously Atletico Madrid have been interested in recommending Pochettino in, because Atletico Madrid are enjoying a bad season. They're sitting sixth in La Liga. They're out of the Copa del Rey. They've got a tough game coming up against Liverpool in the last 16 of the Champions League. Diego Simeone has been a long-serving manager though. He's been at Atletico Madrid 8 years. Atletico Madrid are not the same team since Griezmann left for Barcelona. Of course, they've got a lot of injuries. They've got Hector Herrera out, Hector Herrera, Joe Felix, Alvaro Morata, Diego Costa, Kieran Trippier, Manuel Sanchez, Jimenez. So they've got a lot of injuries of Atletico Madrid. They've got some good players in the team. Solsjkaer, who Man United have been in for in the past. He's still got, around a good 6.5 years left on his contract, because a couple of years ago he signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid. Solsjkaer, Marcos Llorente is not too bad. I think they got him from Real Madrid last summer for around 35 million. Don't forget they did get Thomas Lemar in, but there's a lot of problems at Atletico Madrid at the moment. But I don't think he'd go to Atletico Madrid. Pochettino. Don't forget earlier on in the season there was speculation about Pochettino going to Bayern Munich. Also, Real Madrid have been long admirers of him, but Pochettino did reveal after he got sacked from Tottenham last year, he did reveal that he does want an immediate return to management, because he has been managerless now for like 3 or 4 months, has he, and that. And I think Pochettino would be the right candidate for Manchester United, from my own perception. I'm not saying we'd be title contenders or would win the league under Pochettino, but I just think we'd be a much better outfit under Mauricio Pochettino's guidance, because I think Mauricio Pochettino is a better manager than Solskjaer, so they are totally comparison. He's well proven in the Premier League. Pochettino can develop young players. But, my only element of concern about Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware, but that's only my element of concern about him. Pochettino so far has managed a total of 3 clubs. He managed, obviously, Espanyol, that's where he began his managerial career. He enjoyed a short tenure with Southampton and did really, really well with them. Guided Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League era. And then obviously enjoyed a good 5.5 years with Tottenham. Did Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously, the main explanation why he got sacked is because, Tottenham, enjoyed a bad season and that. So obviously, they just decided to get rid of Pochettino. But you've got to admire him for what he did in his 5.5 years with Tottenham. I think what we should have done is we should have got Pochettino in after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December 2018, because we've been long admirers of him. But instead we decided to go with Solskjaer instead of Pochettino, and the main explanations why Solskjaer was our preference is because he was a cheaper solution, plus he knows the club inside out, and obviously, reflecting what I did as interim manager, this is why, he did get the job on a permanent basis. But I think Man United do need to recommend Mauricio Pochettino in. Mauricio Pochettino did say a while back that he wanted to take control of the transfers if he was to come in, and he didn't want Ed Woodward basically Ed Woodward at the football club. So this is what Mauricio Pochettino had said. But I think he will be Manchester United's next manager without a shadow of a doubt and that. But I think we need to recommend him in. But I think, we'll be determined to keep Ole Gunnar Solskjaer until the end of this season at least. But he still does remain interested in taking over at Manchester United, does Pochettino and that. But yeah, but I understand from where we're coming from, because it's not always the right solution, always sacking managers persistently, because we've already sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era, and, we're not really known for the sacking football club. Obviously, we sacked David Moyes after 10 months, we sacked Louis van Gaal after like a year or so, despite the fact that we won the FA Cup under him, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after he enjoyed a 2.5 year tenure at the football club and that. So we have had 2, managers in with two managers, with a proven pedigree and managers to the top level. But, obviously, their tenures didn't currently work out. So it's not always the right solution, getting the managers in with the proven pedigrees and the managers to the top level and that. But, since Solskjaer, got recommended in, he has recruited 5 new players to Manchester United. Of course, last summer, he recommended Daniel James in for £15 million. He recommended Anwan Bissaka in for around, £50 million. Very, very good right back. And obviously he brought Harry Maguire in for £80 million. So Harry Maguire is the most expensive defender in the world and the second most expensive signing at the football club. So I do praise him on the aspects that he's recommended some good players in. And in January, of course, Solskjaer brought Bruno Fernandes in for £68 million with add-ons included. So he's like the club's 4th most expensive signing. He's going to be here for at least the next 5.5 years. And he's got an option of a 3rd year, so it's a 6.5-year deal if we decide to, extend his contract after his 5.5 years is up. And, he brought Odion Ighalo in on loan on deadline day just before the transfer window shut and that. And it's going to be interesting to see how Odion Ighalo does. I was also reading reports as well, and it says Solskjaer has been warned. And I think this was stemming from Paul Merson. If Odion Ighalo doesn't hit the ground running, then Solskjaer also could be sacked on that aspect and that. But I do believe Odion Ighalo will get given his chances, and I do believe he will currently do well for Manchester United. Will Odion Ighalo, was at China, also enjoyed 3 years with Watford, so he's well proven in the Premier League. Odion Ighalo is a lifelong Manchester United supporter and that, but he's a player that can score goals. He's 30 or 31 years of age, Odion Ighalo, but it was good business getting him in. You got him on loan till the end of the season. I don't think we'll make the deal permanent unless we really have to. We're paying 1/3 of his wages. We're paying him around £100,000 a week. But he didn't hesitate on taking a pay cut, like he did currently mention. But we are making plans for the summer because more signings are needed at Manchester United in the summer. We've got quite a few players on our agenda who we could go in for. But in the summer, I still feel as though Manchester United need a holding midfielder. We possibly need a right winger. I think Solskjaer wants to recommend a striker in the summer. We possibly need a left back as well. So these still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. These still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed in that without a shadow of a doubt. But, I think Solskjaer spent a good £200 million since he's, been here. But look at the amount of money that's been invested into the football club in the last 6 or 7 years. We've spent, nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in. Not only that, we have got the highest wage bill in the Premier League. But despite the fact that we've been so inconsistent for the last 6 or 7 years, I still believe we've got the resources and the backing of the club to get the right calibre players into Manchester United. The players we've got on our agenda for the summer: Jadon Sancho from Dortmund, he's won. Jack Grealish, he's won. James Maddison was, but he's closing on signing a new contract, or has he signed this new contract? So I don't see us getting James Maddison in and that. So I expect us to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But on the other hand, I said more players need to leave Manchester United. I know around 9 senior players have left the club since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. But I think the players that do need to be moved on, I think Phil Jones needs to be moved on because he's one of the problematic players. He's now into his 9th season at Manchester United. I think Matic needs to be moved on. He's too much of a liability in that midfield. I also believe that, Jesse Lingard, too much of a liability. And he's so inconsistent. And, look at last year. He didn't score 1 goal or register 1 single assist. And Lingard should be performing to the standards as I should expect from him, reflecting on his status and the number of years he's been at Manchester United. Haven't read much into the news about him quite recently, Jesse Lingard. Last time I read, he updated you, Atletico Madrid and Roma were in for him. He's 27 or 28 years of age, is Lingard. Andres Pereira's too much of a liability. I think he needs to be now dropped. As soon as McTominay comes back, I don't want to see Andres Pereira play. I think the only reason we've been playing Andres Pereira a lot is because of the injury to McTominay, but too much of a liability. Chong, he's not at that level as yet, so I think Man United need to get rid of him in the summer, so he's another player that needs to leave. Possibly Luke Shaw needs to go. I know he's had some good spells as a Manchester United player, but he has sustained a lot of injuries as a Manchester United player, and he's struggling for consistency at the moment. And obviously, Brandon Williams is our first choice left back ahead of Luke Shaw. And he's inexperienced, is Brandon Williams, and Luke Shaw's more experienced. Solsjkaer may go with Luke Shaw in that aspect, but Brandon Williams is now our current first choice. So yeah, there's players that definitely need to go in the summer. Martial, it's debatable with Martial. I don't really have a perception on him at the moment. If he continues with his bad run of performances, then I would get rid of him in the summer. Obviously, you've got Odion Ighalo now that's fighting for Martial's role in the team, and I do believe we'll give him that number 9, and we should give him that. We should currently, give him that number 9 and that. But Martial, analysing the vast majority of his tenure with Man United, he has operated, out on the left because that's his predominant position. But it's just this season Martial's been operating in that number 9 and that. So what I'd do is drop him completely or put him on the left-hand side. That's what I would do. We've had Alan Shearer recently criticising him. Ian Wright's obviously, had a lot to say. He says Martial should be dropped and that. Pogba's going in the summer because he's already notified Mark and teammates. So yeah, Pogba will be on his way out of the club in the summer. People have got different perceptions on him. Some United fans would be determined to keep him. Some United fans, would get rid of, Paul Pogba, because Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes would be a fantastic partnership in our midfield. Pogba, of course, has missed the warm of a training camp in Spain. The main explanation because he's continuing his rehabilitation from his ankle injury. He's had quite a few injuries this season as Paul Pogba for Manchester United. But I think we want around £150 million for him in the summer. He'll go to Real Madrid or he'll reunite with Juventus, Will Pogba and that. So yeah, and that's everything to update you today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.